There are schools in the United States that are allowing parents to opt their children out of any curriculum related to Black History Month. One of the letters from one of the schools sent to the family is stating that administrators are allowing them to, quote, exercise their civil rights to not participate in Black History Month at the school. If you're one of those parents who are so offended by Black History Month, then don't you ever try to tell black people to get over slavery. Welcome to Radical Truth to Power, the progressive news show with Lesbi Essery. Radical Truth to Power is the everyday black man's perspective on the world of progressive politics, national and world events, and general life itself. I'm your host, Marlon, and on today's show, we're going to talk about controlling the narrative. I've broken this down into three categories of gaslighting, whataboutism, and the third one I'm going to wait until the end, so stay tuned. But before I get started, if you're new to the show, please subscribe, leave a review, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook under the same name. You can email me at radtp@outlook.com. That's radtp@outlook.com. And now you can follow me on YouTube under the name Radical Truth to Power. So, cousins, let's begin with gaslighting. Psychologists describe gaslighting as the manipulation where the manipulator is trying to get someone or a group to question their reality, memory, or their perspective. So let's use the Capitol insurrection as an example of all of this since it's still fresh in our mind. And let's use the very first tactic, and that is fear. Now, what kind of fear can you possibly get from seeing five people die from an insurrection at a Capitol simply because somebody lied and said that the election was overturned? But it's a different kind of fear. See, the first type of gaslighting they would use is the fear that if you punish these people, then you're giving up rights. In other words, they're using the tactic of if there is any kind of consequence from the insurrection, if there's any responsibility given to these people who did the insurrection at the Capitol, then you, the normal human being, the normal American, is going to lose their rights because of the tactics they have to do to hold these people responsible. You will lose such things as your rights to assemble. You could be spied upon. You don't have the right anymore to defend your family. See, they gaslighting in essence. They're lying, saying if you hold these people responsible for their actions, then you yourself are giving up your rights. Even though you did not break the law, even though you didn't kill five people at the Capitol, even though you didn't try to throw democracy, you could be punished because they was punished. That's the kind of gaslighting they try to use. They try to scare tactic you into believing that if you hold them responsible, then anything that you do in a future date that remotely comes close to this, which obviously there's nothing going to come close to the insurrection, then you're going to be punished just like these people were punished. So that's one form of gaslight that you have to be careful about, is because they try to put a fear tactic in a sense saying if you protest police brutality or you protest police killing of unarmed black people, then you yourself will get the same type of punishment as these people who did an insurrection on the Capitol, and six people, I apologize, at this date is six people who died at the Capitol. If they are held responsible, you can be held responsible for the same matter, even though it's a different situation, even for a different meaning, even though you have not remotely came close to doing any of the things that these people did. You're going to be held responsible for the same thing. You're going to be held at the same level as these people who are being held responsible for these actions. Now let's move on to whatchamacallism. And yeah, I know I said that's one of the categories, but whatchamacallism is also a form of gaslighting. Now, I'm going to take my time on this a little bit because it's real simple to use whatchamacallism on, of all things, the Black Lives Matter movement that happened over the summer. So here's how far you have to stretch your imagination. I'm not saying that there were violent incidents that happened over the summer during the Black Lives movement protest. There were buildings that were burnt down. There were some violence towards people and towards cops that are documented. However, you will really have to stretch your imagination to compare the Black Lives Matter movement during the summer and the Capitol insurrection that happened just a month ago. You would have to equate 6 people dying from the insurrection is on the same level as a burning building. You would have to compare, you have to stretch your imagination to compare the protesters protesting from murdering of unarmed black people in America compared to lies that were perpetrated by then President Trump and a bunch of Republicans saying that the election was rigged and that they should have won. You would have to stretch your imagination to compare the Black Lives Matter movement over the summer and the insurrection that happened at the Capitol only for the simplest fact that even if you wanted to assume that it was the same actions, it definitely wasn't the same punishment. When you can tell me that we've had documented proof of unarmed vehicles grabbing protesters, throwing them in the back of the van by unlisted, unbadged, unregistered individuals who, quote, was law enforcement and taken to undisclosed locations, and you want that to be compared to people who bust through the barricade, walked up the Capitol stairs, started busting through windows, and only after 3 hours, 3 or 4 hours of them already in the building, of them already assaulting police officers, then Blue Lives Matter, them walking on the Capitol floors, going through people's offices, taking individual things and taking selfies, taking laptops, sitting at some of the representatives and House representatives' offices and taking selfies, still threatening these same representatives on their tweet. Somehow you have to compare that to the Black Lives Matter movement. Well, let me show you how the comparison is so differently, just in case you're a little confused. I can distinctly say beyond a shadow of a doubt that if it were remotely a huge crowd of black people rushing to the steps of the Capitol, there would have been dead bodies on the ground. In other words, it isn't the same because Black Lives Movement or any protest by a black organization or group of people would have never made it to the steps. Let alone it would have never took 4 hours for something to be done about it. Hell, I wouldn't even think it would take 4 seconds before bullets would have been flying, before tear gas would have been thrown, before flashbangs would have been used. And all of this would have been completely and utterly justified as long as you're black. When you're white, you get to do all these things and then you get to leave. You get to leave. Get back on your bus and go to the airport. And only then, when you get to the airport, where and here comes white privilege at its peak. It is a chef kiss. Mwah. Only white privilege and white supremacy will get to the airport to find out they're on the no-fly list to feel, oh my God, I was wronged. Not I was wrong for rushing the Capitol. No, I was wrong because you put me on the no-fly list and you're holding me against my will. How dare you do that? How dare you sit there and watch me rush the Capitol and threaten to murder House representatives? You did murder 6 people, but hey, how dare you hold me back? You are invading my rights. You are invading my rights to riot. Now, this is what you want us to compare to a burning building. This is what you want us to believe is on the same level as burning buildings, burning cars, somehow threatening to kill representatives and actually killing 6 people and actually assaulting police officers and videotaping it and being proud. These proud Americans who so proud of the United States and want going to fight for the United States that they took the United States flag down and raised a Trump flag. You are so big and bold about Blue Lives Matter that you beat and kill a Capitol cop. Do you understand the hypocrisy of what I'm telling you? But this is what they're going to use. They're going to use, hey, don't look at this big, huge, terrifying thing that had no business happening to begin with. No, I need you to look at what happened over the summer. Let's look at that. Don't look over here. Don't look at the white people. No, we need to look at the black people in the burning buildings. Those are the most important things right now. Those are what we need to look at right now. You're looking at the wrong things. You're looking at it. You're looking at it like you have common sense. Don't look at it as you have common sense. I need you to be stupid right now and not know the difference. So, yeah, that's one of the tactics they're going to use. What about ism? It's a favorite tactic of theirs. They're going to use it and they're going to continue to use it regardless. I'm using the Capitol insurrection as a example, but they're going to use it all through Biden's administration. They're using it now because it's kind of amazing, and I'm not going to go deep into it, but it is kind of amazing that they use it when Biden started writing all them executive orders. Oh my God, and this is so funny. Oh my God, that's a form of dictatorships. If y'all don't shut the hell up, we had to go through the 4 years of executive orders from Trump and knowing about it every single day from a tweet. This dude been in for about what, 2-3 weeks now? Yeah, okay, whatever. So we're gonna move on because I can feel my blood pressure going up, but y'all ain't gonna get my blood pressure up. So we're gonna move on to another topic. Next on the BSery train, and to be honest with you, folks, it's getting old, and you'll hear that a lot. A lot of these excuses that they use, that's pretty much what it is. It's getting old and it's getting tired, and I kind of think that they've used it so much that people are waking up and or people are just dialed into it so much that they'll believe it before anybody else famous or more connected to politics says it first. But anyway, the next one on the agenda, somebody else did it. The infiltration of another group did it. And at this time, I was going to go ahead and say, the whole Antifa did it. Antifa, I think it was Laura Ingraham, I'm not sure, who said she had a she had her producer do a facial recognition of the group of rioters to the Capitol, and it pointed out two Antifa members. It recognized two Antifa members. Um, can I explain to you just how stupid that is? That number one, Antifa don't exist. It never exists. I'm not going to say it never will exist, but at this point in time, it does not exist. For it there to be an Antifa, there has to be an Antifa group. There's a Proud Boys and their leader, and an organization, and a location. There are Boogaloo Boys, and there is a leader, and a location, and an organization. There's the KKK, who has locations, and a leader, and an organization. You have yet to produce one group of Antifa people, one Antifa leader, one Antifa location. You have not produced anything that remotely even show Antifa exists. Yet anytime white America does something wrong, up, it's Antifa. You literally race baited your old self. Because when you see black people, you automatically go Black Lives Matter. When you see white people, you automatically blame them on Antifa. Not white supremacy, Antifa. So the fact of the matter that you can find two Antifa members, even though you don't, there is no way of figuring out if a person's Antifa or not. I mean, I'm just stretching the imagination that they exist right now. You have to, on a lot of these things, is stretch your imagination. You sort of have to stretch it as if you was looking at a Marvel studio movie. But you stretch your imagination that Antifa does exist. Your facial recognition found two members of Antifa out of thousands of people that stormed the Capitol. Out of thousands of people that stormed the Capitol, your facial recognition found two. And for some reason, because you saw two Antifa members, that's an infestation of Antifa out of thousands. And mind you, this is how big, bad, and bold of a lie this is. And again, you have to stretch your imagination that Antifa exists. There were thousands of people who stormed that Capitol. Thousands of people on the stairs. They was big and bold. It ain't like they was hiding their face or anything. Heck, they was taking like 50 million selfies and everything else, waving to the camera if they wasn't destroying it. If you had plenty of time to see a bunch of faces, you found two out of 1,000. So, in other words, just miss me. You using that rhetoric just way too much. Antifa do. Every time the white man does something, it's Antifa. It ain't the white group, it's Antifa. It's always Antifa. We can't prove it's Antifa, but just take my words for it, it's Antifa, because we done said it so many times that it has to be true. That's one of the little tricks, too, I have to admit, but I'll put that to you later, but I'll give you a little hint. If you say a lie over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, somehow it becomes the truth in people's minds. But there's your other one. It's always another group that did it. It's never Antifa. This was a peaceful protest. Antifa did it. But while I was recording this, I read another article, and I think again it was Laura Ingraham. I'm not particularly sure. If I'm wrong, sorry. I apologize at the front. But I did read the article where No, you know what? I apologize. It was not Laura Ingram. I cannot remember what the lady's name is, but she is a radio host. Um, she is a radio host, and she said somewhat to the line of, yeah, there was a bus, two buses full of Antifa members who was escorted to the Capitol so they could be comfortable so they could do the riot. Again, you we have yet to have one person named to be Antifa. Antifa, the group. You can name a Proud Boy. You can name a Boogaloo Boy. You can name a KKK member. You can name these people who are in these groups. You can name the leaders of the people in this group. But you cannot name one Antifa member. You can't name one, yet somehow you automatically know that there's two bus loads of people, of Antifa members going to the Capitol to riot. Oh, and excuse me, they were escorted to the Capitol so they could be comfortably escorted in. Mind you, they don't tell you how they was escorted in. Were they escorted by police? Were they escorted by security? What's the name of the company that escorted in? How was they escorted in? Were they escorted by motorcycles? Do you have license plate? Do you have tags of these people who escorted these two buses? What's the name of the buses that took them in? Who owns those buses that took them in? See, these are the questions you're not supposed to ask. You are just supposed to go, wow, I didn't know two bus loads full of Antifa members was escorted in. You're not supposed to dig no deeper than that. You're not supposed to ask, how did they get there? What's the bus line they on? What's the driver? Can we interview the drivers? Can we ask, hey, did you know you had two bus loads full of Antifa people that you're driving to ride the Capitol? Do you know the names of the people, these Antifa? Because remember, you're two huge bus load of people. This is, we're at the beginning points of February. Name one of them. Because you remember, you're saying two bus loads. Name one of the members of Antifa that was on that bus. Just name one. No, no, no. You're not supposed to ask those questions. You're literally supposed to go, oh, okay, there was two bus loads of Antifa. Ah, it couldn't have been white supremacy that stormed the Capitol like that. No, we was infiltrated. We was peaceful. They was infiltrated in there. Even though we have pictures of a bunch of the guy that put his foot on the desk, who is because who automatically he has a TV show or a radio show or something like that. A very big conservative. He's not Antifa. He's one of them. Oh, I'm sorry. He's the bad apple. I got to remember that. We have Antifa and a couple of bad apples. You got to remember that. It's Antifa and a couple of bad apples. Keep that in mind. It's never them. It's never Republicans. It's never conservative. It's never white supremacy. Antifa, bad apples. You got that? You got to remember that. Antifa, bad apples. You have to repeat that over and over again for you to believe this. It doesn't work until you repeat it over and over and over again, because that's how it works. You have to repeat it over and over again. Antifa and bad apples. Antifa and bad apples. Okay, you got it? Just want to make sure you got it. And now, just to piggyback on the Antifa conspiracy theory, and it plays in and of itself, and this is the last example of gaslighting, is, well, how can I put this? Yes, we were there, and yes, there were people who stormed the gates, and yes, there were people that went up the stairs, but we didn't do anything wrong. So the violence that you saw was by an entirely different group of people. So yes, we was wrong. We was purely wrong breaking into the gates. That was Republicans. That was right wingers. That was us that did that. And yes, we did storm up those stairs. Yes, that was us. That was definitely us. We did storm up those stairs. Now breaking down the windows. Nope, no, 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 no. In other words, we'll take full responsibility for everything we did up until the violence. And the violence that is a false flag perpetrated by the left to incite people to dislike Trump. We take full responsibility of trespassing. As much as you go get us on, we was trespassing. But anything, any killings, any cops being beat up, any glass breaking, nope, not us. That was not us. We came in peace. That was again Antifa. And the funny thing about it is they're not even actually saying Antifa on this. They're literally saying, nope, there was left wing people perpetrating. All left wing people that was put into this group to beat up cops. It was the left wing people that beat up the cops. It was the left wing people that busted out the windows. It was the left wing people that killed 6 people. It was the left wing people that was walking across the Capitol floors. It was the left wing people that was in all these offices. It was the left wing people who stole anything, any violence perpetrated. Nope, nope, that not us. We should be punished for trespassing, and when we mean by punish, slap on the wrist, say don't do it no more, and you get to go home. God forbid you ever get arrested, cause oh my God, you're taking our freedoms, you're holding us down, and whatever. Um, but any violence whatsoever, nope, no, nope, nope. That's not us. We're not taking responsibility. That was left wing. That was the that was the left perpetrating all that violence, and left wing media saying that it was us and it's not us. And by the way, that is another form of it. They love it's I find this amusing. It's funny how the media blames the media for stuff that happens. Does anybody ever think about that? It's these same people who the media is the issue and you're on media saying it. It's the equivalent of millionaires telling poor people how they can become richer. Now, excuse me while I rob you. It's literally it's the same thing. I'm going to raise your taxes. I'm going to put you in the most poorest position whatsoever. But if anybody remotely try to help the poor, I'm rich. Listen to me. I know how to make it better. Helping you out is not going to make it better. Why you think it takes so long to get the stimulus check? We have a bunch of millionaires in the White House trying to explain why we don't need money. I don't remember now. One of them saying, "Geez, I'm hungry. Gee, I'm poor. Gee, I don't have a place to stay. Gosh, I don't have a place to go." You definitely can't say, "Gosh, I don't have a job." You're not doing your job, but at least you can say that you don't have a job. But you are in charge of going, they don't need no money. They're good. They're good. We gave them $600 a couple of months ago. They're good. Come on. What's the worst that can happen? They're good. Like me and my wife always have a running joke. You're fine. You're fine. Nobody would be making a big deal about the Capitol riots if it wasn't for the media. Even though I'm on the media, even though I'm on the radio telling you it's the media's fault for making this sound worse than it is, even though I'm on TV showing you the video of the riot, It's not as bad as it looks. You're blowing it out of proportion. Media always blow it out of proportion. Don't listen to that media. Listen to my media. My media would never lie to you. We don't have a secret agenda. Wink, wink. So it's the media's fault. That media, not our media. Don't look at our media. Look at that media. It's the hypocrisy that's just getting so tired, so tiring. So let's move on to what about ism. What about ism? The technique or practice of responding to an accusation or difficult question by making a counter accusation or raising a different issue. I don't think I'm going to rehash this. I know I said this was this was another perpetration of changing the narrative, controlling the narrative. But I think I gave a prime example in the last one. It's just something I want to us to keep a lookout for. If there's ever a moment where you have a statement or an argument and they always got to bring up a prime example is the 4 years with Trump. No matter what Trump did, oh my God, Obama did it too. Or what about Obama? Or what about Clinton? One of my favorite ones was we complained when Trump lost the election, and we said it wasn't stolen. People complained it was stolen. Y'all stole the election. We were stolen. No, the election wasn't stolen. Why are y'all complaining so much about the election? Well, y'all complained when Clinton lost. Y'all complained that Trump stole the election when Clinton lost. I don't know who said that, and I want to make this perfectly clear because I think people misconstrued um, how we felt about Clinton. And I may be speaking for myself. If you agree, you agree. If you disagree, you disagree. And for each their own. But I wasn't that crazy about Clinton winning. I wasn't that crazy about Clinton. I mean, would I think that she could have been better than Trump? Yeah, I think she could have been better than Trump, but eh, I, it ain't like I was beating the drum for Hillary Clinton to be president. I like Bill. If Bill was still could run again, hey, let's get Bill. Hillary. So I don't understand what these people thinking we was gonna. We I don't know what they. Best believe we didn't storm the Capitol when Trump won and Hillary lost because we really thought Hillary won. And hey, I'm sorry. I don't know where y'all thought that we really wanted Hillary. If this is the pure definition of the lesser of the two evils, this was it. Now, granted, after 4 years, we were dead wrong because even I don't think Hillary would have been worse than Trump. But no, people, no, I'm sorry, no. And like I said, that's just me. But I've talked to a few people that it's like, okay, Hillary won. We got Trump. Yay. So, but anyway, that's the prime example of we can complain about Trump losing the election because y'all complained about Hillary losing the election. And I'm just going into the narrative of if we did, it was in past tense. It wasn't like we was storming radio stations every day going, we need to do something about this or anything like that. But that's the form of whataboutism is that anytime the right, Republicans, white supremacists is painted into a wall on something that they distinctly did wrong, they'll change it to, yeah, but what about? Which is, of course, why the name came up. Yeah, but what about this? Well, what about that? And you got to be real careful with that because here is, and this is my last example. Wow, I'm actually doing good at just rolling through to the next subject. But here is the final example of controlling the narrative. And why I said I didn't have a name for it because it's a kind of a potluck of everything. You have to be careful about what about ism because they will flat out lie to you about the other subject. They would straight up lie. They either one they would straight up lie or two they would change the subject. Here's an example. Chris Wallace was interviewing Rand Paul. Yeah, good old friend Rand Paul. Good old, yeah, whatever. Anyway, Rand Paul was on the Chris Wallace being interviewed and was saying that it was unconstitutional to impeach a president who is no longer president. It was unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional. It was unconstitutional. You can't do it because it's unconstitutional. He talked to a bunch of constitutional scholars who said it's unconstitutional. You cannot impeach a unseated president. It's unconstitutional. I'm saying this over and over again because I want you to keep that in your head. Just keep it in the back of your head because I'm going to show you the trick. I'm going to show you how they use the trick. Just keep it in your head. It's unconstitutional. It's unconstitutional. So, Chris Wallace pointed out that that's not true. See, guys, in 1876, at that time, Secretary of War William Bucknap, who was under Grant at the time, was about to be impeached for accepting bribes. Well, he ran back to the White House to resign, but the House impeached him anyway. On top of that, the Senate did decide that it did have the authority to try him. So it is possible. Now he wasn't tried because they didn't think they would get the 2/3 vote to impeach him. They didn't think they would get enough votes. I may say the number wrong. They didn't think they would get enough votes in the Senate to evict him, so they never tried him. But to say that you cannot impeach somebody who is no longer in the White House anymore, that's untrue. We have a precedence of it. Rand Paul's response when Wallace said, well, we have precedence of it, so what do you think about that? Well, no, you still can't impeach the president because we just feel like that it would divide the country. Huh? That's not what you were saying. You said it was unconstitutional. You didn't say it why we don't do it because it would divide the country. And by the way, guys, I'm gonna get on a rant on that dividing crap in a second. But either way, so you said it was unconstitutional. That's why I said keep that in your head. It was unconstitutional. No, we have proven that that we do have the ability to impeach somebody who's no longer in the White House. That changed the narrative on you. You got to keep that in mind. They will change the narrative. No, I know I said that it was unconstitutional, and since you caught me in a lie that it has been done before, I'm going to change it to no, we don't do that to unseated presidents because it would divide the country. That's how they do it. You painted them in a corner, so I need to change the narrative. Now I need to go to your patriotism and divide of the country, which here is my rant, and it's going to be a short one. Since when the hell did they start concerning themselves about the division in the country? For 4 years, they could have gave a rat's butt about if you wasn't white and if you wasn't rich. They didn't care about dividing no country. Now all of a sudden they care about dividing country, and surprising enough is totally amazing to me that there are polls that showed people who distinctly said, yes, we want Trump tried. Yes, we don't want Trump to have the ability to run again. Yes, it was a majority of Americans, both Democrats and Republicans, both men and women, both black and white. The majority of America said they want Trump to be tried for causing a insurrection at the Capitol. So if you're saying you don't want to divide the country and the majority of the people going, no, 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 yeah, yeah, we want him tried. What country are you thinking you dividing? That's the 74 million people that voted for Trump? Is that who you want to divide across the 80 million plus people who voted against him? Is that the people that you're talking about? All of a sudden, they don't want to divide the country. Hmm. It's amazing how that works. But anyway, that just be careful of that, guys. Just be careful that they like to change the narrative at the last second when they're playing into trouble. Keep in mind that they will lie and lie and lie and lie and lie. And don't get me wrong, it's the same lie. But they would say it so many times that you start to believe that it's the truth. And that's what causes the issues. That you just keep saying a lie over and over again. And if you say a lie over and over again, you can control the narrative even after you point out that it's a lie. Just like this right here, if we point out the lie, no, no, that wasn't the lie I was saying. I was saying this lie. You're trying to stop me from this lie. I wasn't talking about that lie. I'm talking about this lie. By the time this is, you know how the game is played. So there it is, guys. That's how Republicans, white supremacy control the narrative. You got all your examples there. Keep a lookout for it. And to be honest with you, you could always do like I do and just ignore them, which is what I do. At a certain point in time, you just look at them and go, bless your heart. Bless your cotton picking heart. Well, that's my show for today, guys. So, cousins, if you enjoyed this show and you'd like to hear more, please don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a review, leave a thumbs up if you are on Facebook, which I am. You can follow me on Facebook under Radical Truth to Power. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or on our Facebook page by the same name. You can email me at radtp@outlook.com, radtp@outlook.com. If you do see me on YouTube, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, drop a comment. And until next time, folks, I'll see you when I see you.